Welcome. Really glad to be here for our Sunday Hatha slow flow class. And if you're taking this live, sorry to miss my Wednesday class this week. I had laryngitis and glad to be able to have a voice again. And if you're taking this on YouTube, welcome. No particular props. We will start on the back today. If you're brand new to yoga, it can be helpful to have blocks or a blanket as you kind of see how it feels on your body. But either way, we'll start on the back. If it feels okay on the hips and knees, we'll start with soles of the feet together, letting the knees open wide in Supta Baddha Konasana. And if this feels too intense, you can either slide blocks under your outer legs or just plant the feet instead, pointing the knees toward the sky. So take a moment here to settle in on the back. As you settle in, lightly draw the chin toward the chest. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath. And then wherever your legs are at, send the arms alongside the body, palms up. And we'll begin this way, either closing down the eyes or taking a soft gaze. In yoga, we call this inner gaze drishti, a gaze so soft you're almost looking inside the self. As you settle in on the back, close down the mouth. And when you're ready, begin your yogic breath control through the nose. Pranayama, one of the 8 limbs of yoga, through which we regulate the movement of air through the nose, down the throat, all the way toward the belly, and then matching that movement on the exhale back up and out. We'll take a few moments to connect to the breath like this. As you breathe, I'll open our practice today with a poem in honor of winter solstice, which is happening in a few days. This is a poem by Mary Oliver titled White Eyes. In winter, all the singing is in the tops of the trees, where the wind bird with its white eyes shoves and pushes among the branches. Like any of us, he wants to go to sleep, but he's restless and he has an idea. And slowly it unfolds from under his beating wings as long as he stays awake. But his big round music, after all, is too breathy to last. So it's over. In the pine crown, he makes his nest. He's done all he can. I don't know the name of this bird. I only imagine his glittering beak, tucked in a white wing, while the clouds, which he has summoned from the north, which he has taught to be mild and silent, thicken and begin to fall into the world below, like stars or the feathers of some unimaginable bird that loves us, that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow. That was White Eyes by Mary Oliver. If you're just joining, we're starting on the back. If you haven't already, lightly constrict the back of the throat. Cultivate your Ujjayi pranayama. And I'll leave space here if you'd like to set an intention for your practice, maybe related to the winter solstice season and holiday, maybe not. When you find that intention, let it settle in between the eyes, around the heart, and take one more deep breath cycle here. And then open the eyes as we prepare to move. Keeping the mouth closed down, use the hands to lift the legs, plant the feet, and then draw the knees to the chest, hug the legs in, wrap the arms around the legs, and start to rock and roll left and right, up and down, taking any intuitive movements that feel good here. Good. The next time you come through center, find stillness, and then send both legs straight up to the sky. Bend the elbows, find prana mudra, cactus arms, backs of the arms and hands to the mat, elbows at shoulder height. If it's too intense with legs straight up, you can take a bend in the knees. Otherwise, stacking heels over knees, knees over hips. Spread the toes, press the balls and heels of the feet to the sky. Moving on the breath. Inhale here. Exhale, point the toes, slowly lower the legs, forward and down, heels hovering off the mat. On the inhale, no momentum, slowly lift the legs back up, flex the toes. Continue this way on your breath, each time you lower the legs, pointing the toes. Each time you lift the legs, flexing the toes. And then check in with the lower back, striving to keep the lower back rooted down. To do this, knit your rib cage in. Imagine your navel drawing all the way toward your spine. And breathe. Making our first vinyasa here, connecting breath with movement in an intentional way. We'll take just a couple more rounds. If you've had enough, you're welcome to lower the feet at any time. Next time the legs lift, we'll stay right here, feet toward the sky. Bring the hands behind the legs and start to rock and roll along the spine 4 or 5 times, eventually crossing the ankles, rolling all the way to hands and knees into tabletop. Good. Setting yourself up with your strong tabletop. If the knees are sore, you can always slide a blanket under the knees and keep it there in the middle third of your mat throughout the whole practice. Either way, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, tuck your toes. Next, inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, Marjaryasana. Exhale, chin to chest, tuck and round, Bitilasana. Moving through cow-cats like this on your breath. In cow-cats, striving to just find movement through the back and neck, arms and legs stationary and strong. Good, and breathe. This is a great resting shape to come back to. Anytime the body or the mind needs a rest, you're welcome to find tabletop or take cow-cats, regardless of my cues. After your next exhale, find neutral tabletop, gaze between the thumbs, press the palms down. Take an inhale, send the right leg back, plant the toes to the mat, and start to rock forward and back, rolling across the toes each time you roll forward. See how far forward you can shift the weight, really engaging the core here. And this is great prep for Chaturanga Dandasana or our yoga push-up. Good. Find stillness, press through the palms, lift the right leg up, press the right leg back. We'll stay here, option to reach the left arm forward. Either way, gaze is low, feel the crown of your head pull forward as the right foot presses back. Good, pull the navel up toward the spine and breathe. Deep inhale here. Exhale, release, come back to hands and knees. Reset, we'll move right to the left side. Next inhale, send the left leg back, plant the toes to the mat. Begin to shift the weight forward and back. Each time you shift forward, roll over the toes. Equal weight through both palms here, engaging all the knuckles in the hands. See how far forward you can shift, engaging the core. And then find stillness. Take an inhale, lift the left leg up, press the left foot back. Stay here or reach the right arm forward. Either way, gaze stays low. Deep belly breaths here through the nose. And one more inhale. Exhale, release. Bring the knees to the outer edges of the mat. Untuck your toes, bring your big toes to touch. Sit the hips back. Wide-legged balasana, child's pose. We'll start by reaching the arms forward in child's pose. Let the forehead come to a mat. If the forehead doesn't touch the mat, option to slide a prop underneath. As you press down through the palms, press your hips back in space. And breathe. Like tabletop, this is also a resting pose. You're welcome to come back here at any time in our practice. Keeping the gaze low, we'll get into the side bodies. Deep inhale here. Exhale, walk the hands to the right. Plant the left palm on top of the right hand. Interlace your fingers. And then draw the left armpit toward the mat. Shift your weight back toward the left hip. You should feel an opening through the outer left rib cage. You can explore walking your hands further to the right or further forward. Find your edge as you keep pressing the hips back to the left. Keep your gaze low. Inhale, walk the hands through center. Exhale, hands to the left. Plant the right palm on top of the left hand. Interlace your fingers. Good, and then draw right armpit to the mat. Release the neck. Press the weight back towards your right hip. This time, drawing your inhales to the right rib cage, feeling the ribs slide apart. Deep breath cycles here. And keep your gaze low. Inhale, walk your hands through center. And then press up to hands and knees, back to tabletop. Tuck your toes behind you. Make sure your palms are at the top of the mat, shoulder distance apart, setting up for down dog. One more inhale. Exhale, hips up and back. Walk your feet back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. It's okay if the heels are high off the mat. Energetically drop them to the mat as you breathe. Good. You can always keep a micro bend in the knees here. You can also find tabletop instead of down dog anytime you like. Adding on from down dog, inhale, right leg up and back. Hold right here, three-legged dog. Kick the right heel high. Turn your gaze toward the back foot. Equal weight through both palms. One more inhale. Exhale, step between the hands. Lower the back knee. Rise up, hands to the front leg. And then slide that right foot forward if you need. Right knee stacked over ankle. Bring both palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. We'll find some upright twists on the breath. Deep inhale here. Exhale, twist right, right elbow back. Inhale through center, thumbs to heart. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. One more inhale through center. Exhale, fold forward, plant the hands, step it back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. From down dog, inhale forward to plank. We'll hold here in plank. Knees can be lowered behind the hips or lifted, building strength either way. Wherever your knees are at, gaze between the thumbs, equal weight through both palms. Good. We'll hold here in plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. 2 breath cycles here through the nose. We'll take that all on the left side. Inhale, left leg up and back. Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Kick that left heel high as you send the right heel toward the mat. And one more inhale. Exhale, step it through. Lower your back knee for low lunge. Rise up, hands to the front leg. Make sure that front knee is over the ankle. Good, back toes are tucked. And bring palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. We'll find those twists on the breath. Deep inhale here. Exhale, twist left, left elbow back. Inhale through center, thumbs to heart. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. One more inhale through center. Exhale, release the hands. Step it back. Downward facing dog. And breathe. About 5 breath cycles here, or find tabletop or child's pose instead. Always listening to your breath first and foremost. If you're in down dog, fully release the back of the neck. Maybe gaze starts to turn back between the legs. Good. Nice variations there. If you found child's pose or tabletop, make your way back to down dog when you're ready. Next, inhale, gaze forward. Start to tiptoe toward the hands as slowly as you can, coming high onto the toes. You might need to lift your palms at any point. Keep tiptoeing all the way to the top of the mat. Good. Really nice slow steps there. When you reach the top of the mat, find a forward fold. And then catch the opposite elbows with the palms, the way that feels a little funny. We tend to cross one arm in front of the other, so switch that cross. And then let the elbows and forearms drop toward the mat. Draw the weight toward the toes. Whether feet are together or apart, big toes slightly turned in here. And then begin to sway left and right. As you sway, both feet stay fully planted. Noticing, enjoying that opening through the backs of the legs. Deep stretch through the middle back. The next time you sway through center, find stillness. Shift the weight just a bit further toward the toes as the hips lift. Next, inhale, half lift, release the elbows, fingers to shins. Exhale, fold forward. Take a deep bend in the knees. Let the head and shoulders hang heavy. Next, inhale, roll all the way to standing. And we'll meet at the top of the mat in Tadasana, mountain pose. Check back in with the feet, whether feet are together or apart. Big toes turning in. And then draw the inner thighs together, reach the fingers down. Tailbone tucks under, rib cage pulls in and up. Gaze straight forward and soft. Take an inhale, bring palms to heart center. We'll take those same twists, keeping the torso upright. Deep inhale here. Exhale, twist right, right elbow back. Inhale through center. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. One more inhale through center. On the exhale, send the arms up and overhead, bend the elbows, prana mudra, cactus arms. Push the hips forward, keep the toes planted, and then squeeze your shoulder blades together, maybe finding a slight back bend as the glutes squeeze together. Make sure you're not holding the breath here. Good. Next inhale, stand straight up, palms to heart center, and release the arms. Let the whole body relax for a moment. Wiggle it out. So in honor of the winter solstice this week, we'll explore Chandra Namaskar or moon salutes today. So often we take Surya Namaskar, sun salutes. With Chandra Namaskar, it's an opportunity to have a little more introspection, hold our poses a bit longer. Starting at the top of the mat, bring the hands to the hips. Press down through your right foot. Take an inhale, step the left leg back, turn to face the long edge of your mat. Turn your big toes slightly in. Good. Deep inhale here, chest forward. Exhale, fold forward, hinge at the hips, and then release the arms. Starting off here in wide-legged forward fold, you can adjust the distance between the feet, maybe walking them further apart to go a bit deeper. If the palms plant them shoulder distance apart in the same line as your feet toward the back long edge of your mat. Draw your elbows in if they start to bend. And wherever your hands are at, shift the weight toward the toes. Let the heels feel light. Deep belly breaths here. Use your exhales to pull the belly up under the ribs, folding a bit further. Prasarita Paritonasana A. Take an inhale, half lift, tent up on the fingers, bend the knees, bring your hands to your hips. Next, inhale, roll all the way to standing. Turn your right toes to the right, setting up for warrior two. Deep inhale here. Exhale, bend the right knee, open the arms wide, turn your gaze to the right middle finger. Good. And then check in with the arms. Notice if one arm is higher than the other. Level it out and reach the fingers wide. We'll be here for a few breaths. If this gets too intense, you can lessen the bend in your front knee. To go deeper, slide the front foot forward. And make sure you can see the inner edge of that right foot inside the knee. If not, roll your right hip back, squeeze your glutes together. Lots of strength in this pose. Virabhadrasana 2. Good, keep your arms as they are. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, reach to the right. Send the right arm down, left hand to the hip for Trikonasana triangle. Stay here or send the left arm high. If you like to use a block in triangle, you can bring it to the highest height under that bottom hand. If balance is a challenge, keep your gaze at the right foot. Otherwise, maybe gaze turns up to the left thumb. From here, imagine a wall sliding up behind your back body, tucking the tailbone under, flattening the back side. And breathe. Good, make sure that bottom hand isn't pressing on the knee. And take one more inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the hands, frame your front foot, runner's lunge, facing the top of your mat, and then lower your back knee. Inhale, rise up, either hands to the front leg or reach the arms high, low lunge, facing the top of the mat. Good. Make sure that front foot is underneath the knee. If not, slide the foot forward. Stay here, or if the arms are lifted, option to bring the palms together, turn the gaze up, find a back bend, inner thighs pulling inward, back toes tucked. Anjaneyasana, horse pose. Good, make sure the inner edge of that front foot is grounding down, pulling the knee inward. Deep inhale here. Exhale, release the hands. Plant your left palm. Send the right arm high, open through the chest. Revolved side angle. Stay here or lift your left knee. Pop up on those left toes, going deeper. Just like triangle, keep the gaze low to support your balance, or maybe gaze turns up to your right thumb, challenging balance. Parivrita Parshva Konasana. Good, keep drawing that right knee inward if it rolled out. Nice adjustments. And breathe. Option to try the wrap, right arm behind the back, hand toward the outer left hip for the last couple breaths. You find the wrap, pull the right shoulder back, turn the gaze upward. Next, inhale, right arm high. Exhale, release. Lift the back knee if it's not already. Walk your hands to the long edge of the mat. Wide-legged forward fold. Coming back to Prasarita A. If you have headstand in your practice, you're welcome to find that here. I won't cue it, but you can go there if you like. Otherwise, we'll stay in our forward fold. Reach the arms back between the legs, palms down, fingers pointing away from your body. And then walk your hands back in space as you shift the weight forward to the toes. And again, you can adjust the distance between the feet here, maybe sliding them further apart if the hamstrings are feeling a bit more open. Maybe crown of the head comes all the way to the mat as you press the palms down. Deep breath cycles through the nose. Good, really nice hip alignment. We're working to get the hips, knees, and ankles all in the same plane here. If you inverted to tripod headstand, make your way back to your forward fold. Next, inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, walk your hands to the back of the mat. Frame your left foot. Lower your right knee. So we're halfway through our Chandra Namaskar. Plant the right palm. And then reach the left arm high, open the chest to the left. Stay here or lift the right knee back up. Right toes to the mat, going deeper. From here, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Notice how that deepens the twist. Parivrita Parshva Konasana. Keep drawing that left knee in. Stay here or try the wrap. Left arm behind the back, fingers toward the outer right hip. Strongly drawing the left shoulder back as the gaze turns upward. Keep pressing through the inner edge of that left foot. Good. Deep inhale, sweep the left arm high. Exhale, release the left hand, lower your back knee. Rise up for low lunge. Either hands to the left leg or reach the arms up and overhead. So we're still facing the back of the mat. Chandra Namaskar gives us an opportunity to explore different directionality on the mat. So just notice how that shifts your experience in the practice. To go deeper in your lunge, palms together, find a back bend, gaze turning toward the sky. Beautiful. Deep inhale here. Exhale, release the hands, frame the left foot. Dynamic transition to triangle. Lift the back knee, rotate, plant your back foot. Begin to straighten the left leg. Left hand can come to the mat, leg, or a block. Right hand to the hip. Open your chest to the right. Stay here, send the right arm high. One long line between the arms. Keep the gaze low to support balance, or to challenge balance, look up at your right thumb. And again, remember that wall behind the back body, tailbone tucking under, backside becoming flat. And breathe. Good, press equally through both feet. Next inhale, rise all the way up, arms wide. Exhale, warrior two to the left. Bend the left knee, still facing the back of your mat. Check back in with the arms. Reach the fingers wide. Soften shoulders down from the ears. Right glute squeezes underneath. And breathe. As we hold, if this becomes too intense, you can take less of a bend in the front knee. Or going deeper, slide that front foot forward, deepening the bend in the knee. Sthira and sukha, effort and ease. Press firmly through the feet. Inhale, straighten the left leg, hands to hips. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. This time turning toes out, heels in. You might want a slightly shorter stance here, setting up for goddess pose. Next inhale, reach the arms up, star pose. Exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows, sit the hips back, and then push the pelvis forward. Tailbone tucking under, good. See if you can bring elbows up to shoulder height, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together. If the contents of the rib cage are spilling forward, draw it in, cinching in through the core. Utkatta Konasana. Great place to stay, or option to lift one heel at a time, exploring what it feels like to come onto the toes. Maybe lifting both heels, swaying slowly left and right. No momentum. Use your breath and strength. Beautiful. Couple more breaths like this. If you found movement, come back for center. Plant the heels, drop your hips just a bit more. Inhale, straighten arms and legs, star pose. Exhale, hands to the hips. Stay as you are, but turn your big toes slightly in. Closing out Chandra Namaskar with a forward fold. Deep inhale here. Exhale, hinge at the hips, reach the head forward and fold. Release the arms to the mat. And again, option for Shalamba Shirshasana 3, headstand if that's in your practice. Otherwise, this time we'll stay in our fold. Begin to shift the weight left and right. If the palms plant, keep the hands planted. If they don't plant, that's okay too. As you shift left and right, both feet stay planted. Find your rhythmic breath. Let the back of the neck fully relax in your forward fold. If you move toward inversion, use your breath to come back to forward fold, meeting us there. Next, inhale, half lift, flat back, bend the knees, bring the hands to the hips. Take an inhale, roll all the way to standing. Heel toe your feet together and step with control to the top of the mat. Coming back to Tadasana, mountain pose. Big toes slightly turned in. Reach the fingers down. Coming back to relative stillness here. If it feels okay, close the eyes, or you can soften the gaze toward the nose. Begin to shift the weight in any direction, keeping the feet fully planted as you rotate through the hips. As you move, notice how the toes, feet, inner thighs, and hips respond, helping you to find that balance from within. And then slow those movements down. Come back to stand tall in Tadasana. One more breath cycle together here. Open the eyes, bring the hands to the hips. We'll take one more round of Chandra Namaskar, this time holding for just a few breaths in each shape. From the top of the mat, plant down through the right foot. Inhale, step the left leg back, turn to face the long edge of the mat, big toes slightly in. This time for the forward fold, option to interlace hands behind the back if that's accessible. Otherwise, you can keep the hands on the hips. Deep inhale here. Exhale, reach forward first, and then fold. If you have that hand bind, lift the shoulders up from the ears first, then reach the arms up and overhead. Maybe sliding the feet further apart. With time, working to bring the hands to the floor in front of your head. And breathe. Prasarita Paritonasana, C variation. One more inhale. Exhale, release the hands to the mat. Inhale, half lift, hands to hips. Exhale, stand all the way up. Turn your right toes to the right, setting up for warrior two. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale, deep bend in the right knee, front knee over ankle, and settle in. Find your breath. Good, Virabhadrasana 2. One more breath cycle here. Next, inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, reach to the right and bend for triangle. Right arm down, left arm to the hip or high. Good. Deep breath cycle here. Exhale, cartwheel the hands. Frame your front foot. Runner's lunge. Lower your back knee. Setting up for low lunge. Inhale to rise, hands to the front leg or reach the arms high. Choose your variation. Maybe finding that back bend for a breath, gaze lifting upward. Shoulders drawing back from the ears so you have peripheral vision here. And inhale, rise up. Exhale, plant the hands, frame the front foot. And then plant the left palm, sweep your right arm high for a twist. Parivrita Parshva Konasana. Option to lift the left knee to go deeper. Especially if you lift that left knee, draw the right hip inward. Maybe gaze turns up. Deep breath cycle like this. Deep inhale here. Exhale, release the hands. Walk to face the long edge of your mat. Wide-legged forward fold. This time, walk your hands off the mat, finding wide-legged down dog for just a couple of breaths. Press the hips back, work the forehead and chest toward the mat, but keep the core active, navel still pulling inward toward the spine. Good. Next, inhale, walk your hands back in, find your forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Walk your hands to the back of the mat. Frame your left foot. Lower the right knee. Plant the right palm down, setting up for our twist. Back toes are tucked. Inhale, sweep the left arm high. Stay here or lift the right knee as well. Really hug that left hip inward. Maybe gaze turning up to the left thumb. Parivrita Parshva Konasana. And one more inhale. Exhale, release the left hand, lower the back knee. Rise up for low lunge. Hands to the left leg or reach the arms high. Maybe palms come to touch. Make sure that left knee is over the ankle. Option to find the back bend as you breathe. Deep inhale, reach the arms high. Exhale, plant the hands, frame your left foot. Dynamic transition to triangle. Lift your back knee, rotate, plant your back foot. Begin to straighten the left leg. Left hand can come to the mat, the leg, or a block. Right hand to the hip or reach the right arm high. Equal weight for both feet here for balance. Maybe gaze turns up to the right thumb. And breathe. Press firmly through both feet. Inhale, rise up, arms wide. Exhale, gaze to the left, bend your left knee, Virabhadrasana 2. Coming to the end of our second round of Chandra Namaskar. Soften the shoulders from the ears and breathe. Next, inhale, straighten the left leg, hands to hips. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. We'll set up for goddess pose once more. Toes out, heels in. Hands to hips to start. Press firmly through the feet. Inhale, arms out and up, star pose. Exhale, bend the knees and elbows. Utthata Konasana. Shoulder blades squeeze together. Make sure you can see the inner edges of your feet inside your knees. If not, press the hips back. Few more breaths. Option to lift one or both heels. Explore shifting left and right. Lots of strength and heat in this goddess pose. Good, really nice effort there with the movement. Find stillness, plant through both feet, drop the hips just a bit more. Inhale, straighten arms and legs. Exhale, hands to the hips. Heel toe your feet together. And step with control to the top of the mat. Last time in Tadasana, mountain pose. Find your tallest spine here. Start by pressing down through the feet. Draw your inner calves, inner thighs together. Tailbone tucks under. Rib cage pulls in and up. Fingers reach down, lots of space between shoulders and ears. Take a few breath cycles like this in relative stillness. You set an intention, let that come back up. Just notice. With your next exhale, open the eyes. Keep the breath moving. Inhale, arms out and up, palms touch. Exhale, swan dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Make your way to down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Our last down dog here. We'll be here about 5 or 6 rounds of breath. Take notice of what it feels like to come back to down dog after Chandra Namaskar, moon salutes. Maybe noticing different sensations in the body or mind than with sun salutes. Deep belly breaths here. In down dog, one more inhale. Exhale, lower to the knees. Swing the legs to one side. Come all the way to a seat on the mat. And we'll send the legs straight forward and together. If you like to use a prop in a seat, you can slide a blanket or block just under the back inch of the sits bones. Either way, begin to flex the toes toward the body. Torso is nice and tall, feet are active. Inhale, reach the arms high. Exhale, reach forward. Hold here, hinging at the hips. Crown of the head pulls forward. Fingers pull forward. Good, keep flexing the toes. One more inhale. And fold forward. Let the hands release wherever they do. Paschimottanasana, intense west-facing pose. Paschima in Sanskrit meaning west body. In yoga, our back is the west, front is east, head is north, and feet are south. If you have the space, option to reach for the big toes with the first two fingers, cap it with the thumb, or maybe interlace fingers all the way behind the heels. If you do find a hand bind, make sure you're not pulling with the arms. Let the breath and the body do the work to stretch, keeping shoulders drawing down from the ears. With each exhale, strongly contracting behind the navel and at the perineum, finding your deepest fold today. Before rising up, reach the arms forward. Next inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, release the hands. If you had a prop under the sits bones, slide that aside. So we're moving toward fish pose, keeping the legs as they are, lower down to the forearms. So forearms are behind your back body. Legs together, point your toes. Maybe tuck your fingers under the tips of your glutes, if that's accessible. From here, press down through the palms, wrists, forearms, and elbows. Take an inhale, lift the sternum toward the sky, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, release the head and neck back. Point the toes strongly. Feel the soles of your feet energetically pull toward the mat. Matsyasana. We'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 more inhale. Exhale, release all the way to the back. Bring the soles of the feet together, just as we began our practice. Finding Supta Baddha Konasana. Feel the hips open, let the knees follow. This time, one hand to heart, one hand to belly. Maybe closing down the eyes all together here. We're taking a soft gaze. Take a deep inhale through the nose, open the mouth, sigh it out. Twice more like that on your breath. Holding here in this shape. As a reminder, if this is too intense on the hips, you can always slide props underneath the outer hips, just enough to support the legs. As you hold this shape, begin to lengthen your breath, inviting an active pause after each inhale, and an active pause after each exhale. I'll read once more the poem with which we began our practice in honor of winter solstice this week. White Eyes by Mary Oliver. In winter, all the singing is in the tops of the trees, where the wind bird with its white eyes shoves and pushes among the branches. Like any of us, he wants to go to sleep, but he's restless. He has an idea, and slowly it unfolds from under his beating wings as long as he stays awake. But his big round music, after all, is too breathy to last. So it's over. In the pine crown, he makes his nest. He's done all he can. I don't know the name of this bird. I only imagine his glittering beak tucked in a white wing, while the clouds, which he has summoned from the north, which he has taught to be mild and silent, thicken and begin to fall into the world below, like stars or the feathers of some unimaginable bird that loves us, that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow. On your back body on the mat, maybe you too begin to catch a bit of that feeling of moving toward rest and sleep, moving toward silence. We're making our way toward Shavasana for our final resting shape. A couple of options. You can stay just as you are, with the knees falling to the sides, soles of the feet drawing toward the body. Or you can adjust for traditional Shavasana, sending the legs long. No rush or urgency here. Take a few moments to get set up, finding any clothing or props to be comfortable and warm. It can feel nice to slide a blanket over the hips, adding a little extra grounding down. Or if the lower back is sore, you can slide a blanket or blocks underneath the knees, giving a little bend to the knees, helping the lower back to release toward the earth. Wherever you're at, begin to actively count your breath cycles in your mind. Counting on an inhale to 4, 5, or 6. Hold that pause. And matching the same count on the exhale, holding a pause. Spend a few moments like this, tapping into your deepest, slowest pace of breath of your day. Knowing this tool of counting the breath of pranayama is something you can practice off your mat anytime you need in your daily life. At the bottom of your next exhale, keep the mouth closed, but let go of your rhythmic breath control. Notice, allow the abdomen to soften and relax. Notice and allow the rib cage to soften and relax. Notice and allow the heart space, the collarbones, the shoulders to soften and relax. Notice and allow the back of the throat, the tip of the tongue, the jaw to soften and relax. Notice and allow both cheeks, both nostrils, and the space between the eyes to soften and relax. Notice and allow the eyebrows, the forehead, and the very top of the head to soften and relax. And now notice and allow the pelvic floor, the outer hips, the lower back to soften and relax. And finally, notice and allow the arms, wrists, legs, and ankles to soften and relax. Trusting you've put in the effort making it to your mat for this practice. And all that's left to do is allow yourself a few moments just as you are, in quiet and stillness. I'll chant us into Shavasana with a mantra. As I chant, disconnect from physical sensation around you. As you go inward, feeling light. Om, Om Hara, Om Hari, Om Haru, Om Harai, Om Hara, Om, Om Hari, Om. Shavasana, corpse pose. Om, Om Hara, Om Hari, Om Haru, Om Harai, Aum. Aum. Om Harau. Om Hari. Om Haru. Om Harai. Om Hara. Om. Om Hari Om. Shanti. 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 You are welcome to stay just as you are, even through the end of class. If you feel ready, begin to deepen your breath back toward the belly. Taking notice of any new sensations that arose, anything that's shifted through your practice of Chandra Namaskar. When you feel ready, invite movement back to the fingers and toes. And gently roll the neck left and right, up and down. Eventually finding a full body stretch, maybe interlacing hands overhead. Create some length through the whole body. And if it feels okay, draw the knees to the chest. Roll to the right side body. Cradling the head and the arm, taking a few breaths in this in-between shape before pressing sideways to a seat. We'll close our practice sitting tall in any comfortable seat you like. Take a moment to tap into what we call samastihi, or equal weight through left and right sides of the body. And then bring palms to heart center, pressing thumbs to heart, heart to thumbs, Anjali Mudra. Call that intention back to mind and heart. We'll seal our practice together with one round of Om, the universal sound of nature. You're welcome to join in at any pitch or simply listen. Preparing to inhale to Om. The light within me honors and respects the light within each of you. Happy winter solstice. Thank you. Mil gracias. We bow and say a word. Namaste. For those joining live, I'll have this class posted on YouTube, and the next day I'll also post the poem that I used tonight, White Eyes by Mary Oliver, and I look forward to practicing with you soon. And so do these sweet kitties.
Yeah.